the XS Noize Podcast with Mark Millar.
Hi everyone, welcome to episode 48 of the XS Noize Music Podcast. Thanks for downloading. I'm your host, my name is Mark Millar, and this week my guest is music legend Tito Jackson, who has just released his debut blues album, Under Your Spell. If you missed last week's episode, I spoke to actor, writer and director Ben Cura about his debut EP, Extended Play No. 1. So check it out, and if you like the podcast, it would be amazing if you subscribed and shared with your friends. If you want up-to-date music news, album reviews and interviews, then check out our main website at xsnoize.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter and Facebook. Here's XS Noize writer Dan Lynch with some highlights of what's on the website this week.
Wilderness is the new EP from Cat Bells. Randall Radich gives its 3 tracks an 8 out of 10 score, saying they're a sumptuous blend of dreamy shoegaze and alt pop. It's the New England-based artist's first release. Michael Barron's been flipping the pages of a new graphic novel about the life of jazz queen Billie Holiday. Michael says the story tackles with dignity some of the racism and misogyny she experienced during her career. And revolutionary guitarist Tom Morello has announced the release of a new solo album. The Atlas Underground Fire comes out on October 15th. If you can't wait until then, the first track, a cover of AC/DC's Highway to Hell, featuring no less than Bruce Springsteen and Eddie Vedder, is streaming now at xsnoize.com.
Music legend Tito Jackson has released his fantastic blues album, Under Your Spell, which features many special guests, including George Benson, Joe Bonamassa, Marlon Jackson, Eddie Levert, Neal, Bobby Rush and Stevie Wonder. I sat down with Tito to discuss the album, the Jackson 5, his brother Michael Jackson, and much more. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the XS Noize Music Podcast with Tito Jackson. So hi Tito, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Very good, very good. You were the last of the Jacksons to put out a solo album with 2016's Tito Time. What took you so long?
Well, I got married very young, and then I had children 2 years after I got married, and I just felt that I needed to be responsible and be a father and a husband when I wasn't on the road with the Jackson 5. So I really didn't have that luxury of time to nourish a solo career and do all the above, so that's my main reasons. Then children came one after another,
And how are you finding being a solo artist? Are you comfortable with being a solo artist now?
Oh yeah, very much so. I enjoy playing music and blues especially. So I'm in my element, I feel. Yes.
You're known for upbeat dance-orientated music with the Jacksons, but your latest album, Under Your Spell, it's a blues album. Why did you decide to explore the blues genre on this record?
Well, I've been doing the blues. I don't know if those of you over in Northern Ireland is aware, but I've been doing blues basically my entire life. I started playing blues from when I was a young man with my father and his brother. They played guitars, and they basically played blues all the time. And they would let me jam with them every now and then. So I started way back then. And the Jackson 5 was doing blues in their show during the time Gary, Indiana. And I would play blues, guitar and blues at that time as well. And then when after the Victory Tour, the Jackson 5 basically took a break, but I wanted to play more music. So I started going out and playing blues shows, started doing just from the beginning, weddings and local little clubs in my area in California, and it grew. Then I started working all around the globe. got shows in Japan and some in the UK and France and other parts of the world, down in Jamaica and so on. So it's just something I really love, you know. And the Tito Time album basically was an album that I just felt that I needed to do, you know, just do it for the record, for the family record of everyone having that type of album. But this blues album, I feel, is where I belong musically, and I love doing it.
You have some amazing guests on the album. There's George Benson, Joe Bonamassa, Eddie Levert, your brother Marlon, Kenny Neal, Bobby Rush, and Stevie Wonder. How did you get all those guys involved?
Well, that wasn't very hard, you know, believe it or not. First of all, most of those guys are friends of mine, but it came at a time when no one was busy. Everyone was home with COVID. Not with COVID, but with the COVID situation being around, and everyone had time on their hands, you know. So I would sit on the musical tracks and whatever, and we would discuss what they're gonna do, and we send music back and forth until we get what we needed. Now with George Benson, with the George Benson track, I recorded that with George Benson prior to COVID. And so, yeah, that was done and recorded in Arizona, and his hometown. I think it's called Scottsdale, Arizona. Yeah, it was very difficult, you know. Of course, I live in the same town as Eddie Levert here in Las Vegas, so that was a piece of cake. Mm-hmm. And Joe Bonamassa happened to be a friend of the label owner. So, and I've always wanted to do something with Joe Bonamassa. He's always been one of my most favorable guitarists. So I got that opportunity to have him on a recording with myself. And I have my other cousin as well, Stephen Powell. He's a Southern soul artist on Warner's label. And of course, I have Stevie Wonder. That's it.
Is it true that Stevie Wonder is your cousin?
Yes.
Wow.
True. But it's so far back, I don't know if it would even be considered.
It's a great story. The debut single off the album, Love One Another, it has a great positive message for these times. Is that why you put it out first as the single, because of COVID and the time the world has been having recently? Yes.
And it just felt like that I'm the single. The song just felt that way to me, you know, because of the message and the participation we had and getting notoriety from those artists' fans as well. I'm pretty sure we have a lot of cross-collateral fans, but getting the fans to listen, and the message is something that needs to be studied today, and I think it's a great message for people to carry and live by.
Absolutely. Legendary songwriting duo Kenny Gamble and Leon Huff, who wrote some hits for the Jacksons, came out of retirement to write one of the tracks on the album, All in the Family Blues. What was it like working with those guys after all these years?
You know, Kenny Gamble and Leon Huff are an excellent team of writers. They've had many hits. You know, they're like another Motown. And just to have material from Kenny Gamble and Leon Huff is just a dream, and to be doing it with another favorable artist of mine, that group of the OJs, Eddie Levert, you know, to sing along with it. It was a no-brainer. Then the match that whole package back up together one more time. That's basically the idea I had with that. You know, I would love to, because when the Jackson 5 worked with the Gamble and Huff, I didn't get to really sing anything. I think I got one little line. I can't even remember that right now. But but this time I got to get involved and really get a piece of art from those guys.
Yeah, it's a great song.
Thank you.
Famously, you used to sneak your father's guitar out to play, and he found out you were sneaking out when you broke a string. By the time he found out, how well could you play the guitar by then, and who taught you how to play?
I taught myself and by staring at my father and my uncle, and when they would go away or whatever, I would sneak the guitar and practice that, or try to play with, a few things I saw their fingers doing. I pretty much taught myself, in the beginning, and about the time he found that I was playing just as well as he was.
When your father found out that you were sneaking his guitar, how did he feel when he realized that you could actually play it well?
Oh, he was surprised. He looked at my mom and said, "Kate, this boy really could play this, huh?" She said, my mom said, "I told you, he's not playing with your guitar. He really wants to play." So my father gave me the guitar. And he said, "I just get myself another one in the morning." Because he buy these guitars at the pawn shop. So the pawn shop bought himself another guitar. And he said, "I want you to learn all the songs on the radio that you like and you hear." So I learned a lot of Motown stuff and other songs that I had an ear for. And Jackie and Marlon and myself, we would be singing, in the room at night or evening time, harmonize and trying to be like the Isleys or Temptations or whoever. And sometimes my father would tell us to be quiet, stop making noise, because he was trying to get some sleep because he has to go to work maybe in another 3 or 4 hours. So he's trying to rest and we making noise. And Marlon and Michael playing with cars. They were little babies. They were still on the ground playing with little toys and cars, rolling cars around the floor. But they were begging to be in our group. And we told them they were too little because we were older. I'm 5 years older than Michael. And so they weren't in the group at that time. And then we went to Michael's thing, heard him sing, then we rushed him home, put him and the group, and Marlon as well. Of course, we're still singing. And one time we was making so much noise, my father got upset about it, telling us to be quiet. My mother told him, "You really need to go in there and listen to them. I think they might have something. They could sing a little bit." He didn't believe it. He said pretty much, "Them boys can't sing, Kate. Them boys ain't got no talent." She said, "No, Joe, I think you really should listen to them." So he gave us an audition, and he couldn't believe that his boys could sing and harmonize and stuff. So the next day he went out and he bought mics and PA systems and amplifiers and all kind of stuff. He saw a dream. I guess he's something. Light bulb went off in his head and started rehearsing us on the schedule. He put us on the schedule. He gave us directions. When he would go to work, he would make sure that we were doing something musical, like maybe learning songs or choreographing the song. He just kept us busy musically. And when we wasn't doing music, he gave us 100 chores around the house to do. Pull weeds, moving blocks, and things like that. Music was our main goal when I look back at the family structure. And that's what it was like.
What was it like? What do you remember about growing up in a 2-bedroom house in 2300 Jackson Street? If you're rehearsing it as well, and then the family's living there, it must have been very difficult.
We get asked that question all the time. What a lot of people seem to to not think of and remember is when they were little, everything was big.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you got in the car with a bunch of kids and you had 5 or 6 guys in the back seat, and they all like this. They're comfortable, you know. So we didn't feel that way. You know, we had a triple bunk bed, and 2 of the guys, you know, slept together. So you had Marlon and Michael, they slept together. I slept with Jermaine. And of course, Jackie, being my oldest brother, he slept on the bottom. And my youngest brother wasn't even born at that time when the group was being formed. So later on, he joined, and we got another bed that slid out from the bottom. But everything didn't seem crowded at that time, is what I'm trying to say. You don't need a lot of room when you're small. It was a lot of fun because we got the opportunities to go out on shovel walks and make money, pulling neighbors or cutting lawns and things like that, you know. But and we made money for the family and whatever. So it was cool. It was cool. I didn't notice anything being a kid, you know. Make the best of whatever. You don't even know you're poor.
I would like to know about "Can You Feel It" is one of my favorite Jackson songs. It's such a positive, uplifting song. What can you remember about writing and recording that song?
Well, I didn't write "Can You Feel It." My brothers wrote it, Jackie and Michael. That song was a winner from the beginning because of the message in that song is strong. And I remember when we recorded the video, that was a lot of fun. Just having all the people, all the different races there and so forth. Till today is a fun song to record. I mean, to perform on stage, you know, when the brothers go out and perform, that's the opening song, you know, in our show. So yes, it's a fun song, and it has good vibes and good memories.
What are your favorite Jackson songs to play guitar with?
I love the old stuff, you know, the older stuff, stuff like "I Want You Back," ABC, "Love You Save." I love that stuff, you know, and of course I love "Heartbreak Hotel," and I like it all, to be honest. But I like playing the Jackson 5 medley. I've been playing that for quite some time now.
Where do you think your family were so much blessed with musical talent?
That's a good question. And you know, even with the second generations and whatever, and I get upset about it sometimes. Now that I'm an older person, you know, I wish some of these kids would not try to be part of the business, but it's in their blood. I understand it. I don't know. It's a good question. And it happens to other families in other fields. So, you know, some families are like that when it comes to sports or what have you. I don't know. Music just happens to be our thing, I guess you could say. Even my little baby, she out here trying to dance, you know. So already, you know, so who knows?
Your 3 sons went on to have amazing success as 3T. How did that come about?
Well, 3T came in the Jackson 5 days. Like I said, I got married very young and had kids at a very young age. So I remember when they came to one of the concerts and they were playing with the rhinestones on my costume, the sparkly things and this and that madness. Then they saw the brothers perform for the first time on stage. And so after that, they went home and started playing Jackson 5 music. And they had like the broom and things like that, acting like they're playing. And I said, y'all like the Jackson? They said, yeah, we want to be like you guys, like Jackson. I said, well, if you want to, I told them, I said, if you want to be like your uncles and me, I said, first of all, you can't play records and you can't be playing booms and mops. You have to play real instruments and you have to really sing and you have to do it for real because that's what we do. We don't play brooms and mops and put records on. So I opened up the studio to him and I said, you really want to do it, you hear you can play on my keyboards, and I gave one of the boys a guitar, and I just want to see it. They were really interested in it, or were they just excited for a moment? And they stayed with it, man. They started rehearsing on their own, they started doing like an hour or two after school rehearsals and this and that. Then when I saw they were sort of had talent and drive for it, I got them some musical direction from a few teachers, and that went on for maybe a year or so. And they started singing in rehearsal. We did a demo because I had a studio in my home at the time. And they did a show for Yamaha. And from that point on, they everything else is history. I put together a 3-track demo, and Motown wanted to sign them. Of course, Sony wound up signing them. They were on Epic Records, then they moved down to MJJ Records after my brother got a label there. They enjoy show business, and they still have records. They're going to be doing something that as a group very shortly here soon, but they still record.
I bet they didn't have to work as hard as you did in the Jackson 5 back in the day.
Not even close to it. Not even close to it. Trust me. I was going to say spit in the bucket compared to what we had to go through.
It's been 12 years since your brother Michael passed. He was treated very badly by the FBI and was always hounded by the media. Do you think Michael was very much misunderstood? Who was the real Michael Jackson?
He was misunderstood. The real Michael Jackson is who they don't want to believe. The real Peter Pan type of character. Michael's very soft and easy. He's the type of person, if you see a sad story on the news, it'll bring tears to his eyes, He don't want to see nobody suffer. He was very giving. Of course, he's not no one's Jesus Christ, but he walked in that light. He really tried to walk in that light, and he did it through his music. Hey, they did it to Jesus Christ, so to do it to Michael Jackson is no big deal.
What's your favorite memory of Michael?
He was my brother, and I loved the way we were as a brotherhood, with the times when it wasn't music and it was just chatter and jokes and fun, playtime as kids, stuff like that.
You've had such an incredible career. Looking back, what have been the highlights of your career?
Highlights of my career would be getting inducted into the Hall of Fame, performing for the Queen twice, 2 Jubilees, having hold the record for the first group new artists to come out with 4 consecutive #1 songs, things like that. The Victory Tour, the biggest attended tour of all times, records and things of that nature.
And what are you most grateful for about being able to be a musician?
I'm just grateful that the Lord gave me the opportunity, and I'm grateful for the people that enjoys my music and has supported my family throughout the years. We are a musical family. Now that I'm an older person, I can see that we were. When some people find their calling, I think our calling was music. And we're going to give it to you as long as we have a song to sing. When you think about it, and I think a lot of the true entertainers or musicians feel that way. When you look at people such as B.B. King, Frank Sinatra, who else die on stage, at an older age, because it's something that is inside of your soul. It's more than just going on stage, entertaining the audience. It's more than that for the artist. It's part of your life. It's like the air you breathe. It's something to do and there's nothing to do when you need to take a walk down the street, Sometimes you have that same feeling you need to do a show. to be on stage for an hour or whatever, relieve that feeling.
I like to ask my guests the following questions. Out of all the music in your collection, which artist or band do you have the most records by?
I would say blues, Albert Collins, B.B. King, people like that. Mostly blues is my thing. And other than that, it's just old school music, and I don't really buy a lot of new school music. I hear it, I like a lot of the stuff, but I go back to the 90s and,
What's next in the immediate future for Tito Jackson?
Well, I'm doing this album, and I want to do a tour around this album, and possibly go out with my brothers and tour again and do a record with them. I'd love to do a record with them again, and get my boys back on the horse and do something. Yes.
Well, Tito, that's my questions finished. It's been an absolute pleasure
talking with you as well. Thank you very much. Well, maybe we'll get a chance to meet someday. Yeah.
Have a good day. And again, good luck with the album.
Okay, thank you. And may I ask you, do you have any particular song on the album that you fancy more than the other?
Well, I love the single. I love the first single, Love One Another. I just love the positive message.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
It's really good. And it works. The whole album just works really well. It's great to have another Tito Jackson album out there after the first one. So after all this time.
Thank you, buddy.
All right, Tito, have a good day.
All right, see you.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
The XS Noize Podcast with Mark Millar.